what is up everyone, I'm Piglet here once again and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Mario Kart 64 for the Nintendo 64. So, last time we have basically gone through a flawless run through in terms of the forms of the Mushroom Cup on 50cc. And today, we're about to begin through the next cup in this game on 50cc once again, except now we're going to begin on to the forms of, well, what else? The forms of the Flower Cup is up next, and in addition to that, we are also able to actually play as a different character. Since we've already selected Toad from the last video, let's go for Luigi this time around. So either way, we're just able to actually accept that. And let's head on to the Flower Cup, which consists of Toad's Turnpike, Frappe Snowland, Choco Mountain, and finally Mario Raceway. So either way, let's begin Flower Cup in the forms of Mario Kart 64. So either way though, the first track in this particular cup, as you can see, we're actually going to be driving around on, is Toad's Turnpike, which, if you couldn't tell already, this particular track will make its return during the forms of in Mario Kart 8 / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So either way though, I just want to classify that. For those of you who have missed out on our Let's Play of Mario Kart 8 / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you want to able to precise so for this matter though. And this track is pretty cool though, because basically we're actually driving around in the actual car street while simply able to dodge a lot of cars and lorries, and especially noticeable for buses as well. And the only funny thing about this is that I keep on getting used to with Mario Kart 8's version of this track, meaning about the fact that at that time about the fact that you can able to hop onto that surfboard as the actual jump ramp, as well as the forms of that glider, if you can clearly tell. But that's not the case in this game this time around, because we have to avoid a lot of vehicles. And I don't think I can probably show the actual differences between the unlockable class than the likes of the normal class, but I'll talk more about it whenever we get on to the later progressions in terms of the forms of the actual Let's Play of Mario Kart 64. So either way though, yeah, today's day is the forms of the 5th of April today, so either way though, there's quite a few things what I'd like to talk about, but first of all, before we get on to that actually, is the fact that, well, I do apologize with the forms of my commentary itself goes a little bit more, a little bit out of hand. This is probably because of the fact that, well, for the sake of time, that we're actually getting slightly annoyed for this point today, well, usually for some fans out there, that first of all, several things has been delayed recently during the past few days, such as, for instance, for example, let's talk about the actual game that most people seem to be really excited for, and that is The Last of Us Part 2. Sadly though, that particular game has been delayed due to, what else? Coronavirus. And, well, it might be able to actually give that game some good opportunities until when the game finally gets its release, until at some point in 2020, at some point, as I said earlier. But hopefully we can able to actually let the game or able to well, usually fix their bugs or anything like that. So either way though, everything else for the most part though, yeah, you're just gonna have to wait for a long period of while. Ah, dang it. I completely forgot, I just accidentally got hit by that truck. Ah, oh well, let's just go ahead and toss that green shell over towards, I have no idea how I'm trying to explain about this right about now. Oh jeez, almost gonna get hit by that green shell, in this case my own green shell. But luckily we've managed to able to get ourselves our triple red shell, so at least we can able to toss some of them, while accidentally destroy one of them due to the forms of that, with that green shell, and plus Mario got hit by that any kind of vehicle for that part. I do apologize for I've almost said a swear word all of a sudden, just because, well, I just have no idea how the fact that what is going on with this world recently. So, another thing has been delayed also, but this time around is another film has been delayed, but this time around is actually by the forms of SpongeBob SquarePants Movie 3, Sponge on the Run, and as a result, that particular film will be delayed during in August, rather than just like later throughout in 2020, which I suppose is like a good thing. But either way though, this already comes down to the forms of the box office department. But then again, we'll find it out whenever that film finally comes out in June. I would say in August this year, which kind of feels like this sort of the same thing as this, like, well, Minions 2 or something. Despite Minions 2 was actually going to be releasing at some point, like, God knows when. But even then, no, that's all I can really say for this point, guys. And another thing has been also being delayed by the coronavirus is the fact that, well, you know what the actual cool Super Mario merchandise, specifically made by, Lefties and stuff like that, which I do say is the fact that the actual clothing merchandise looks somewhat a little bit more interesting, to say the least, mainly with the actual, the jacket and jeans or anything like that, which I found is actually pretty cool. Sadly, it's been delayed in the forms of, well, as far as I want to say about the fact that that's been going to be released until August this year or something like that too, but that was only in North America and South America or something. But then again, though, that I'm just a little bit too nitpicking at this point, as far as this point in time for today. So anyway, next track we're going to be hit on to is Frappe Snowland, and as you can see, that not only does this track will make its return during the forms of a Mario Kart DS on the Banana Cup, but it also makes this track return during the forms of recently in Mario Kart Tour. So either way though, that's something it's worth mentioning, by the way. Speaking of Mario Kart Tour, actually, is the fact that I found out during the forms of on Friday that I forgot to tell you guys about something ever since the very beginning of this Let's Play in general. The fact of the matter is, though, is the fact that recently that the Mario Kart Tour will able to get itself its new set of tour, and that this time around is going to take place in Yoshi Tour, which I think it makes it a little bit obvious, because the reason why they're going to go for Yoshi Tour, just to make it a little bit obvious to match up to the forms of the Easter events, because, you know, X managed to able to actually meant for celebrate for Easter stuff or something like that, despite with Jesus Christ managed to able to die in every April. Well, for every Easter for that matter. Well, despite the fact that in Good Friday, that usually Jesus Christ managed to able to die on Good Friday, but he managed to revive himself during the forms of an Easter Sunday, I suppose. Then again, I'm not exactly a huge godful kind of like history books, but I'm sure Twilight Spike will be able to actually just to point it out. But anywho. So yeah, for what I've noticed something like this is the fact that usually speaking when it comes to the Yoshi Tour that they actually going to be bringing us into, stupid snowman. Oh jeez. Anyway, about with the forms of the new tours being about to be on its way, mainly with the Yoshi Tour, that as far as I'm guessing this correctly, that they may actually going to be focusing on character-based tours, whilst unlike the forms of when the game first came out, they usually just managed to celebrate with some specific events like you know the New York tour and the Tokyo tour, as well as the New Year's tour and the Vancouver tour, due to the forms of, you know, Vancouver 2010's Winter Olympic Games has been held for about a decade ago. And also the Christmas tour, and also the Halloween tour, and all the other jazz, basically. So either way though, I'm guessing that throughout every now and then, that it might actually focusing on characters specific tours or something like that. But even then, I'll discuss more about the forms of the Mario Kart Tour stuff until most notably on next weekend, because for the most part though, this will be the final time we're going to be going on to 50cc, as you can tell, for the sake of this Let's Play in general, because as far as this point in time, that we might able to actually focusing on 100cc until next weekend, and after that, until likely on the third weekend of April, then we can able to actually that we can able to mainly focusing on 150cc, and then after that though, we can discuss more about it until later, until by that time whenever we get to very close towards the end of April. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I digress. So yeah, that was it for Frappe Snowland. So yeah, that seems pretty cool track, at least as far as I've noticed something. So even then, at least we actually did that just fine. But despite with the actual the AI can really sometimes really catches you up. It always kind of reminds me of Sonic Rivals for the PSP almost, despite the fact that in Sonic Rivals they actually compete against with just only with one person and stuff like that. But in this game in particular, is the fact that along with any other Mario Kart games for that matter, well, usually you can have to compete against with 7 other players as well, so. But you know, at some form or another, they always have to, every once in a while, they just sometimes always catches you up at one point, so even then I found it a little bit more, I don't know, just irritating or nitpicking sometimes. So anyways, the next track we're going to be hit on to is, ooh, this looks very interesting for this entire stage. We have ourselves Choco Mountain, which appears to be, well, a very unique track indeed. Because first of all, it's all made of almost like, kind of like a chocolate almost. Even though despite the fact that eating chocolate will be a bad idea, just because it will give you a lot of fat. Which, no offense, but either way though, that's besides the point. And second of all is the fact that not only does I really do enjoy this music a lot because of my nostalgia memory, but it's also the fact that this track will make its return during the forms of in Mario Kart DS, during the forms of the Leaf Cup. So yeah, I'm very glad that track will make its return in Mario Kart DS, and I'm just really hoping that track will make its return again when we get into the forms of Mario Kart Tour. But then again, I'm not going to mention about Mario Kart Tour's news updates or anything just yet until, you know, at some point next weekend, but I'll discuss more about it every now and then. Oh yeah, speaking of every now and then though, is the fact that what if I did manage to finish up with both the Mushroom Cup and the Flower Cup during the forms of, well, I've already managed to done Mushroom Cup already for the sake of yesterday for 50cc, and at the moment right now I'm focusing on Flower Cup. On my own time, I'm actually going to be going to go back onto 50cc to try to complete the Star Cup and the Special Cup on my own time, because I don't feel like trying to able to show that off on 50cc, because it makes everything else a little bit more, well, how should I put this, a little bit slower. But hopefully whenever we get onto 100cc, and especially noticeable for 150cc, things can get a little bit more faster, at least assuming about the fact that it depends on what tracks you're going to be able to actually just race on, and especially noticeable of the amount of skills I was able to try to pull off. So, but you know, that's how I get the feeling for this point, and I'm sure most people seem to able to most people seem to able to actually always attempt to focusing on 150cc and then the other class unlockable difficulty, which then again we'll point it out whenever we get to it. And by the way, you know what these little guardrails, as you can see right there, that has been placed in this stage, that only exists during the forms of 50cc version of Choco Mountain, because whenever we get onto, well, not so much in 100cc, but whenever we get back into this track until likely during the forms of 150cc class, then, you know, with the guardrails, they'll just be gone. So even then, though, this makes things a little bit more tricky and difficult, but even then, though, we'll get to that until any forms of, well, the next few weeks' time. So even then, though, well, to be more specifically, we'll try our best if we're able to be focused on this at all times during for the majority of April. I'm going to tell you for this point right about now, there won't be any delays or anything like that. It's going to tell you guys something like that. So, anyways, now let's move on to the final track in new forms of in the Flower Cup, and that is Mario Raceway, a sequel to Luigi Raceway, except now it's entirely based around for Mario. So either way, and this track will make its return in Mario Kart Wii in new forms of it, I would say in a Banana Cup, I'm assuming. So either way though, that's, oh yeah, I forgot to mention something about the fact that in Toad's Turnpike, as the track we've already done, that track will obviously make its return in Mario Kart 8 / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it was originally from, in this case, it was actually coming back into it from the Shell Cup, so even then I just want to classify that. So either way though, that's the big exception for that point. So I actually have to admit though right away, I actually really do enjoy this track basically. Sure, it might be a little bit too simple, but I mean, it does have some cool stuff here and there, such as like, you notice with the actual billboards, usually constantly shows up during the forms of the course of the game. Apparently, if you ever play the Japanese version of the game, sometimes the actual signs or billboards for that matter, like for example, we've already come across into that familiar 64 number in Luigi Raceway. You notice about the fact that with the actual color of that particular billboard was actually in blue. However, if you ever play the game in the Japanese version, not only does the actual text of the 64 number just manage to gain color in blue, but if you manage to play the Japanese version in Fury, that you were able to come across into this orange circle as opposed to the blue circle. So yeah, that's a nice little difference here and there, as well as those other billboards here and there as well for that too, which I totally forgot what they are, just because it's been quite a long time actually since I actually played. Oh, because there's a boo item. Okay, that seems cool enough. So anyways, here's another one of those items that, well, usually this is one of the first times we've ever experiencing, well, this is the first Mario Kart game to feature a boo item, so even then what that does, this allows you to able to steal the item from certain players from, you know, depending on what place they're in, so even then they obviously will bring that back in, obviously in Mario Kart DS, as well as recently Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So yeah, that's what I can really think about it. So anyways, let's go ahead and make our way to the finishing line. Let's distract Mario and... What the...
Here we go.
How the... What happened? How come I'm in second place? Ah, Yoshi just beat me. By what? 1 millisecond! 1 millisecond off by simply just trying to gain first place. What? Huh? I'm just speechless. I'm just too speechless. But regardless, we're still in first place though, so I was just like, you know what? Whatever. I'll let you win, Yoshi. I'll let you win. Especially you adorable and all in all, but hey. And that's pretty much wraps things up with the Flower Cup. So yeah, almost in a flawless run, but only in the ending portion that I seem to able to get screwed over by that 1 millisecond behind that's by Yoshi. But jeez, I never actually come across that before. But then again, this is all due to the fact that with the actual unfair AI sometimes in this game, it's just always really trying to catches you up at one point or another, and I was just like, was that really trying to able to actually make things a little bit harder for ourselves? I don't know. So as usual, we're going to go for this awards ceremony stuff again, and hopefully we should be able to get ourselves the, what else, another gold trophy, but in the forms of in the Flower Cup. So yeah, that's how it usually goes for that specific points worth noting for. So I will say though, this award ceremony sequence does feel a little bit more, I would say, longer than the forms of how it does in any Mario Kart games by the sake of time. Especially notable that, well, if this is only because, as you can see on screen, this is on 50Hz mode instead of 60Hz mode, which I kind of wish that the game itself might actually go a little bit more faster, but oh well, beggars selves can't be choosers, I suppose. So, we got the endings of this point right there, I'm afraid, guys. So join us, or join me in the next weekend for more of Let's Play of Mario Kart 64. It's the fact that we're going to be hit on to the different class this time around in 100cc. And we're about to be focusing on the next cup for next weekend, which is the Star Cup. So, yeah, best of luck for me. So I'll see you guys in the next weekend. Later, fellas.